In 5, 4,
Just wait for that.
3. I know what he's waiting on.
Treat him like a pro.
Treat me like a pro, so we're going to open like that, I guess? Who's the pro? I guess you're the pro. Wait, look, if I sit really still.
You can't sit too still because that makes you look taller than me. And that
I know,
would be,
but see.
I'm not going to lie to the fans. We know that I'm 4 inches taller than you.
But if I don't move, I kind of blend in with the backdrop. Can you see me, Seth? What about now? Can you see me now?
Well, if you don't like that T-shirt, this is the second official T-shirt of Wrestlecon. So both of these will be for sale the entire weekend, $25, New York pricing.
And do not order them at Wrestlecon.com because they won't be there in time, right?
We will not. We are not selling them in advance. You have to pick them up at the show.
Well, in case you were confused, we are back again for the you said annual, but it's only the second year, so second annual. And I guess we'll open with another handshake.
You're booked for next year. We'll make it a third annual next year.
Oh, so I'm booked before. Well, Shane Helms is with another company now, right? So I guess I'm
So you're officially the first.
I'm officially the first. Corky Frank's here alongside Michael Bukikio, and I still call him Bucky Chow from time to time, like Mr. Chow. We're here to talk about the Wrestlecon frequently asked questions, and hopefully we have all the answers. I know at least you should have the answers since you're in charge.
And I'm not being a smart aleck when I say this, but all the answers are on the website. But I do realize that
Everybody don't
in
go to the web.
2019 people do not like to read. So for those people, we're kind of doing this in a video format.
Well, everyone wants instant answers. So let's kick things off. Where exactly is the WrestleCon Super Show or convention being held?
So everything is at the New York City Midtown Hilton. Drop your phone. Which is on Avenue of the Americas. Ideal location, 2 blocks from Times Square Central. It is across the street from the Modern Museum of Art. It is walkable to pretty much every tourist destination that you could think of in Midtown. And anything that's not walkable is reachable with a subway ride very quickly.
Well, I guess we can go ahead and jump into that. So a lot of fans coming to WrestleCon want to go to NXT, go to WrestleMania, go Ring of Honor. So what will be the easiest way for transportation? Uber, taxi, transit?
I know a lot of people are intimidated by the New York transit system, but I will tell you, if you will learn it, it is a very efficient means of getting around New York City and Brooklyn. And I would absolutely suggest it. I mean, there are some situations where you can get from point A to point B in 5 minutes, and with an Uber or taxi, you might be waiting that long just to find one.
Do you have any suggestions? You say study it. I mean, obviously, nobody wants to show up Thursday morning and study it.
Right.
So is there a place to go online and check it out?
I would say for people that aren't comfortable looking at maps, there are attendants down in the subways of every New York station. And you could say, I'd like to go here. I'd like to go to Madison Square Garden. I'd like to go to Brooklyn. And they can give you like a directional guide, and you could kind of just follow that. But, I mean, everything's color-coded. You just jump on the color train you want to go to, and you go right there and get off the appropriate stop.
And we're not here to talk about WWE and NXT and Mania, but we're here to make things easier for the fans. So
we're a part of the weekend, so
and
we realize everybody's doing a little bit of everything.
And we kind of really didn't answer the question. I don't think so. How far away from NXT, WrestleMania, the majority of the big shows? How far away is WrestleCon?
I think everything's within 30-minute ride. Whether you choose to do the transit system and make a couple of changes, whether you choose to be a taxi or an Uber, I think everything is probably safely to say within a half hour of where we're at. We're kind of in the epicenter. Where Brooklyn is, where they're doing like Access and where Raw and SmackDown, and where Mania is in New Jersey, we're kind of in the middle.
Yeah, and when you look at the map, it's kind of intimidating. It looks like it's way over here and it's way over here. But like you say, once you get on a train or a transit or something, you can be there fairly quickly.
Absolutely.
So this year, I think the WrestleCon showtimes and convention dates are a little bit different than in the past. So if you would take a second and touch on that.
Well, there is no Sunday this year.
Okay.
So that's a change from last year, and a lot of people have been asking.
What's the main reason why? It's too much?
The 2 reasons. One is the hotel pricing in New York City was pretty high, so we had to kind of consolidate the amount of space that we were using with the time that was most effective. And then 2 is last year we just didn't see a huge interest in the Sunday. With Mania being an 8-hour event, I think most people want to rest up before they head over there. And really, we're there to be complimentary to what everything else that's going on. And I didn't feel like running an event on Sunday has been much of a compliment in the last couple of years.
So it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So Thursday we basically have the Wrestlecon Super Show, which launches our weekend. It's the biggest. It's the crown jewel of the weekend.
And what time is it?
It starts at 7 o'clock, and we are this year for the first time going to do a pre-check for people that just want to avoid the lines on Friday, if you have a 2-day pass or you have a Friday admission pass, you can come on Thursday starting at 3 o'clock, and we'll get all the credentials. You'll get your bracelets, so that way when you just roll in on Friday, you just walk right through the doors if that's what you choose to do.
And your bracelets are good from then on. Just walk up and like a
2-day
fast
bracelet,
pass.
Yep, 2-day bracelet. You won't need to stand in a line again until you want to meet a guest.
So what's included in a Wrestlecon ticket? I see this question all the time on social media. If I buy a Wrestlecon ticket, can I meet this guy? Can I meet this guy without purchasing a Wrestlecon ticket? So what's included?
So first I'll say that a convention ticket, an admission ticket, it will get you in either Friday or Saturday or both, depending on the ticket, and that's all it does. It gets you in. Okay, there's no autographs, there's no pictures that are included with that. This year only, there is one exception to that. Each day we are running a morning event. It starts at 11 o'clock. On Friday it's US versus the World. On Saturday it's Pro Wrestling Revolver. And if you have a convention ticket, you can attend those shows as part of the package.
For Friday and Saturday.
Absolutely.
How much
no
are the
additional cost?
How much are the tickets for WrestleCon on Friday and Saturday?
Well, in advance, we always make it the cost of WrestleMania. So I believe this year was $35. And at walking up, if you want to walk up and not pre-buy in advance, it's $40. But we are not going to put those tickets on sale for walk up until 10 a.m. So every year we have this thing of people waiting in line 7 o'clock in the morning, ready to buy a walk up ticket. And what we do is we serve the people who pre-ordered first, and then once all those people are through the line, then we serve the walk-up. So just to be very clear this year, 10 a.m. is your walk-up price. If you want to get in earlier than that, you need to buy in advance.
But what you're saying is I can go to WrestleCon.com for $35 today, tomorrow, anytime before Friday,
Yep.
and I can purchase admission to WrestleCon, and it also gives me free access to those two shows.
That's right. And to make it
That's
even
the deal
more
of the
confusing,
weekend.
it is a good deal. And
It really is.
In the past, we've done stuff where you got like entertainment, where we had a stage set up, and that was part of the thing. And we said, you know what, is that what really people want, or do we want to do something more? So we gave them the show included in this admission pricing, and really the show itself is worth the admission price.
Do you have any entertainment lined up like you have in the past, or is this year the shows and the wrestling competition good enough that will you eliminate some of that stuff?
Well, the area where we'd have what you'd call the entertainment is the shows. So
Okay.
that's going to be. But what we are doing is from 8 to 9, both Friday and Saturday, we're going to have basically a wake up in the morning kind of an event where we're going to entertain you. So we're going to have guests both mornings. Corky will be included with Miss Alicia, and before we let you into the convention, we're gonna give something back to you instead of you staying in a line like a group of cattle.
Right.
People like Colt Cabana, MJF. We got some trivia, some giveaway stuffs.
Like we've had people come open shows and things like that in the past.
Yep.
How many shows is WrestleCon putting on this year?
There are 5.
And what are they?
There are 5 live events. One is on Thursday, the Wrestling Super Show. It is sold out. Although if you go to some third-party sellers, there are some people. Some that are trying to make some money off of it, and some people
And you can't blame them.
who are selling at cost. But there are some tickets available. Once we reset the venue, this is not a venue that normally hosts wrestling events. I'm hoping we're going to be able to open up about 20 or 30 more tickets. So if for some reason you're looking at this on Thursday and you decide you want to come, don't just assume that we can't get you in, because we'll find a way. If you want to come to the event, we'll try to find a way to get you in there. There are 3 events on Friday, starting with the US versus the World show at 11. Which again is included with a Friday admission.
$35.
And then Rev Pro has their annual show at 3 o'clock. And then Saturday night at 8:05, the very first Joey Ryan Penis Party, which I tell you, we've had a lot of fun putting that together in coordination with Joey. That's going to be.
How should I dress for that?
We've got an outfit for you.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we have an outfit for
I
you.
hope you're joking.
Oh, I'm not joking. This is going to be a party for sure.
Do I need to sign a waiver beforehand?
I'll tell you what, I would say parental discretion advised. And then the last show we're doing is the Pro Wrestling Revolver show, which again, if you have a Saturday admission ticket, if you have a 2-day admission ticket, is absolutely free. And conversely, if you buy a reserve seat for either US versus the World or Revolver on that particular day, you'll get into the convention for the remainder of the day for absolutely free. So you do not need to buy both a Revolver, a US versus the World, and a convention ticket. You just buy one or the other.
You mentioned third-party sites, Ticketmaster, StubHub, whatever. But something I see every week is a lot of fans decide they can't make it to an event, or they can't make it to this WrestleCon, Super Show, or whatever. And if you guys will stay tuned to social media, you're always retweeting Some guys say, hey, I want to sell my tickets for face value. So that is still an option. There's a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
These
that
tickets
happens.
are fully transferable.
Yep.
And if someone says I'm selling it for face value, or if someone says under face value, I'll usually give them a retweet. If it's someone that's looking to, gouge a fan, I usually ignore them.
Right.
But I will say that if you want a premium seat, there's a couple of front, second row tickets for every event on some of those reselling sites.
A couple more things before we get to the Ask Wrestlecon questions. We've had some confusion in the past about the pro photo ops. For us, we've been on site and we see how it runs, but when you're a fan and you show up and there's a long line around the building, you're like, how long am I going to have to stay here? Yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. This year we have 2 pro photo op companies involved, correct?
We do. Last year we had a little bit of an issue with the company getting a little behind schedule. They had some technical issues, and I think it kind of left a black eye on the pro photo ops, which they did, to their credit, the next 2 days they did recover from, and they ran efficiently. But this year we have 2 different companies that do the same service, and we're able to offer way more pro photo ops than we have in the past. And we've kind of spaced them out to where I don't think we're going to have any of the same issues in the past.
Yeah, but to take up for the pro photo ops, the issue last year was they're printing so many pictures so fast, 300 and 400 pictures an hour, right? I know it's that many.
Yep.
That what happened was the printers overheated and there was no way to cool it down. But you only waited a couple minutes versus the minute that we guaranteed them last year. So it's not like you had to wait for 6 hours to come pick your picture back up.
Well, and to be completely honest, we did get a little behind schedule on Friday. So
yeah.
And that kind of threw everybody's day off. This year we've kind of lightened the load for both photographers, and I don't anticipate any issues staying on schedule. But I do want to explain something, because people ask me all the time, hey, can I take a pro photo with my own camera? The difference between what a pro photo is and what you'd buy at a table is a pro photo is you're standing in front of a backdrop, something like this, standing next to the talent, like this, and I have a professional photographer take your picture. And what is the important distinction is you're going to get a printed, glossy 8x10 within a minute. So when you walk out, you go to the printer and you pick this up, and then that's your picture. And if you want a digital download, they have those options on site for an additional fee. But it is not.
And it's minimal, yeah.
And it's not taken with your own camera. So there's a couple of things that makes the pro photos great. Number one is you can stand in a line for 3 hours sometimes for like a Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair. Well, these pro photos are very tight schedules. They're 15 or 30-minute blocks. So if you really value your time and you do not want to waste half your day standing in a line, these are exceptional values. You pay a little bit more for it, but you get a printed picture. The other advantage, quite honestly, is you're guaranteed to get a great picture.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do that phone, it looks a little blurry, you don't notice it right away, or
Yep.
you have a distracting background. With a pro photo op, if for any reason you don't like the picture, you just go back into line and take it.
And take it again, and it's instant. You have it that quick.
Right.
And the good thing about that last year was, I would see a fan in this line, and the next talent, the guys. It's not like you're wasting, like you say, 4 or 5 hours to wait to see one person.
Right.
I mean, you can knock out 6 or 7 or 8 wrestlers, performers in
And back to back, too.
Yeah, back to
because
back, just get in the line.
There's
Yeah.
sometimes you see like, hey, I want to do this one, and this one, but they're all back to back, and absolutely you can do that. But one distinction I will say is there are some overlaps in terms of John Moses Photography is going to be on the first floor, and Wolf Studios on floor 2. And if you have 2 of those scheduled at the exact moment, I would probably discourage you from buying both. I would say choose one.
How do I know who and when to schedule times for?
Sure. If you go on our website at Wrestlecon.com, there's a Pro Photo Op tab at the top, and you can select either Wolf Studios or John Moses Photography.
So what you're telling me is if you go to Wrestlecon.com, you can see all the talent that's going to be there, who's going to bring them in, what time they're going to sign.
That's right.
Seriously? Why do you keep getting that question? You get it 100 times a day.
Literally, I want to make a documentary on seeing the emails that I answer to. It's like the same 10 emails, and it's always the same answers. But
highlight some of the talent that's going to be at Wrestlecon.
Highlight?
Yeah, like a Friday. Who's going to be there Friday?
So I think Friday, the highlights are definitely the Four Horsemen. They are, for the first time, WrestleMania weekend together. And not only do we have what I'd call the
Which Four
original
Horsemen?
version with Barry Windham, we also have the version with Lex Luger. So they're pro photo ops that kind of start the day on Friday with that. And then Ric Flair was, interesting story, for his birthday was given one of his robes. He is going to actually be wearing this robe for the first time in a pro photo op.
Who gave him the robe?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay.
But he'll be wearing the robe, and you as a fan will get to stand next to Ric Flair, the legend, and one of his robes.
Speaking of Ric Flair and some of his robes, one of the vendors this year, if you want to talk about those guys for a second, they have some Flair robes.
Yeah.
And a
they're-
great opportunity.
And they're only there on Friday.
Okay.
I saw these guys at another convention, and I was like, you have to bring this to Wrestlecon. They have purchased robes and paraphernalia and memorabilia from wrestlers around the world, but they're bringing the Ric Flair experience here, so you could actually wear an authentic. This is not a replica. This was a Ric Flair robe that they purchased. You could put it on and take pictures wearing it yourself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to have a nice backdrop and things like that. So that's something definitely worth checking out. Let's go to social media. You use the hashtag #AskWrestlecon. Let's see here. Will Great Muta be in face paint, a mask, or neither for pro photo ops and or table ops?
So Muta does not look like Mr. Muta from 1990. He
Really?
He doesn't, and he was actually with
Surprisingly.
us in Dallas, Texas, and for photos, he typically he has a very similar look to you.
He don't look this well.
No, he doesn't look that
Promise
well. But Mr. Muta no longer has hair, and therefore no longer does the face paint.
Okay.
So I would say you could probably look at pictures of him at Wrestlecon in Dallas and see what you should expect.
Yeah, I would just about bet if you go to Wrestlecon.com or HotSpots.com, the fans can see some of those, like the 16 by 24 posters that he signed. That's kind of what he looked like,
Yep,
right? Yeah,
that's
yeah. Let's see here. Any information on the parking situation for the Wrestlecon Hilton?
So for people, first of all, I'll say this: if you want to be smart about it, do not bring a car into New York City. That's the short answer. New York City is perhaps the worst place to have a car in the entire country. And I've driven San Francisco, LA, New York. I'm telling you, New York is the worst. That being said, if you insist on bringing a car, I would suggest going to parkwiz.com, which is a great app for finding parking in and around the area. You put in the address of the hotel. There's about 20 or 30 parking decks within a few blocks radius. Depending on the time of day, it's kind of a supply and demand kind of thing. I'd say you're going to pay between $25 and $35 a day to park.
For the people who refuse to heed your advice, what kind of valet parking price do you think they're expected to pay?
So
$100,
at-
$150?
At the hotel, I believe it is $100. So that is, if you want to be like super lazy and you have no value of money whatsoever, you could go right to the hotel. They'll valet it for you for $100, but that is highly discouraged.
Will Lucha Brothers have a meet and greet before or after their Thursday Super Show?
So the only meet and greet that is on Thursday is for talents that will not be there the rest of the weekend. So we have a list of the talents that are going to be there, like Jushin Liger, like Dragon Lee, like Cavernario. These are guys that, for whatever reason, Bandito, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre, they're not going to be with us the rest of the weekend signing. So what they've done is on Thursday, before the Super Show, they've allocated some time to meet the fans, and those are the only guys that are going to be any part of a meet and greet on Thursday. That is not part of a convention on Thursday because there's no actual convention until Friday.
Right.
So if you want to meet those guys, with or without a Super Show ticket, we're going to have a meet and greet starting at 5 o'clock with those guys.
An official meet and greet.
Official.
Now, if they choose to come out after the show, that's on them, right?
Yes, but I do not expect that to happen.
Okay.
So I want to make that very clear. 5 to 6:30, those guys and those guys only will be available. Guys like the Lucha Brothers, they're going to be available for 4 hours on Friday. So check the schedule online. You'll get to see their signing schedule. They're actually doing pro photo ops both Friday and Saturday and appearing on the Revolver show. So if you're a Lucha Brothers fan,
They're all over New York.
They're literally on 3 of our live events and taking pictures both days and signing on Friday for 4 hours.
Can we get a layout map of the booth locations and photo op areas if possible?
Yes.
That's a really good question.
It is, and it is now on the website. It was not on the website when that particular question was asked. It is now on the website, and then when you show up, when you check in, we will have a printed map.
Okay.
So you will have a map, just like when you go to Disney, of everything that we're doing and where it's located.
I think this is more of a individual question here. Bag and camera policy. Do you know?
Yes. So I know that, like Access, you have to have a clear bag. It's a certain size. They kind of restrict things for whatever reason. They have their policies. So our policy is we encourage you to bring your action figures or your things to get signed. We realize that's what we're in the business of doing, is supplying talent that is going to facilitate you getting autographs. So we have a very, very casual backpack and bag policy. If it is stuff that you're bringing in for the purpose of getting signed, it's highly encouraged. What we are discouraging are people that are without a hotel room and carrying their big bags of clothing into our event. Just because you have a limited amount of space, and you're not really doing a service to others by kind of walking your clothes through our convention.
Or the guy who brought 50 belts to Wrestlecon last year for his friends so Steve Austin could sign them, right?
Well, if you want to pay for a signature, again, the item is highly encouraged.
Hey, speaking of Austin, I saw something, I think maybe last week, about, it's just one fan complaining about Austin not coming.
Oh, it's more than one fan. And I'll just, let me answer that question with this. I know we've had a great run of very high-profile talent that normally doesn't do these things appearing at Wrestlecon. And for whatever reason this year, a lot of those high-profile talents are going to be working for only Vince McMahon this year. And I'm not saying that there's a distinct reason why, but I want you to know that we tried Undertaker, we tried Austin, we tried Hogan, we made an offer to Kenny Omega, we made offers to Chris Jericho, guys that I would say are premium level talents that I know are at the top of everybody's wish list, and for whatever reason, different reasons, they weren't able to come this year. So, it is disappointing that we weren't able to deliver one of those kind of guys, but we have so many people there this year. I mean, I get upset when people focus on who's not there when there's 250 guys there to meet anyways. And very, very top-tier talent that's never appeared. Jesse Ventura has never appeared at a Wrestlecon.
Right.
Eva Marie has never appeared at a Wrestlecon. The Four Horsemen together have never appeared at a Wrestlecon.
And I don't think the fans understand. It's almost like they think you just reached out 2 weeks ago trying to get this talent. They don't understand how long the process has been going on.
I mean, we literally start going after talent the next year. So
How long have you been working on Steve Austin? Till you got him last year.
Last year there was a handshake agreement that if he could come back, he would come back. And
right.
we bothered him literally 50 times before he finally said, I can't do it. And I'm
right.
not going to disclose why he can't do it,
yep.
but let's just say he's not going to be working for us that weekend.
If he could, he would.
He seems to have had a great time, and
yep.
He did not say no till very late in the process.
Right.
So.
Let's see, 4 guests with limited time slots. You just mentioned Governor Ventura. Mm-hmm. If we have a pre-order, is it safe to assume that as long as we get in their line before their time ends, are we guaranteed autographs?
Yes, and it's very important that I qualify if you get in line in time, because every year we have people that pre-order and then they show up 10, 15 minutes after the scheduled time and the talent's gone. The times that the talent put on that website, they're there because they usually have something else to do during that weekend. Maybe they have to go to Access. Maybe they have something else that they're scheduled to do, but they're not there all day long just because you got there late. So we always tell people, why don't you limit the amount of pre-orders that you do? Wait when you get there and then just buy what you want.
Now this is out of your control, but do the majority of the wrestlers have 8x10s and things like that to sell?
Yeah, almost everybody has an 8x10. If you pay for an autograph, it's usually included. There are a couple of people that do charge for 8x10s, but if you don't have an item to bring, there's always something to be signed.
Is there a coupon book this year?
No, last year I felt like it created more issues than it helped, and we decided to forego the coupon book. But fortunately, we've had an amazing response. We've sold more hotel rooms this year than in any past year, and that is a real credit considering the pricing that you have to deal with in New York City.
One more question here.
But I can't tell you the amount of convenience that you will have staying at the official hotel versus trying to save a few bucks and coming in from outside the city.
I had one more good question. I can't find it now.
You sure you had one more good question?
I didn't have a good question. Somebody on here had a good question. Oh, is there any free meet and greets this weekend?
Yeah, we were laughing about this before we went there. I would say any question that you have, is there any free? I would stop you and probably just say no. You have to remember the way this convention is set up. The wrestlers, in some cases, buy their own tables. In some cases, the vendors buy the tables and pay the wrestlers. But in all these cases, the only way the wrestlers really make money is when you buy their pictures and autographs. So we facilitate that process. We charge a minimal fee to make that happen. If you understood the amount of staffing and rent that was required to make this possible, you'd understand that the $35 entry is very small. But any picture, any autograph, you have to pay for. But as I tell everybody online, a hello and a handshake is free. And we tell all the wrestlers, be nice to the fans, and if you're not going to be welcome back.
Let's touch on this real quick. We talked about it last year. Everybody has a couple drinks. They hang out around the hotel bar. Like you say, hello, thank you, appreciate you, handshake, all that stuff's for free. What's the policy as far as approaching talent at the hotel bar or in the hotel lobby?
If I think approaching them and being nice to them is one thing if you see that they're not on their personal time, but I think asking for autographs and photo ops are inappropriate. Sometimes wrestlers don't want to be the bad guy, but that literally is how they make a living.
And that's the only time they have as far as downtime.
Right.
They're working the whole weekend.
Right. And the vendors, sometimes the vendors pay these wrestlers a guarantee, and the wrestlers, honestly, they don't care if they're signing for free for somebody else because they're already getting paid. But the vendor is taking a tremendous amount of risk in some of these situations about paying these guys. And so just be respectful of the process. Again, if you want to say hello, especially in the convention, if you see a guy at a table and he doesn't have a line or he has a small line, he'd probably love to talk to you, or he or she'd love to talk to you. I mean, they most of these people really love fans, but they make a living off of selling their merch, selling their photo ops, and you have to be respectful of that.
Hey, do you have any, this is just a question for me, do you have any great talent interviews lined up for the High Spots Wrestling Network coming up? You have to have something.
Well, we'll never disclose.
Seth's laughing.
We'll never disclose what we have, but it's probably a given. Any interviews we do will be probably done in the middle of the night because our day and nights are so packed with events that are scheduled for Wrestlecon. We kind of work everything else around.
Which I'm sure involves a lot of alcohol and a lot of good stories and a lot of laughter.
There's bars set up at all the live events, so I want to encourage everybody if they just want to have a good time and stuff. We've kind of created the environment for them to do so.
Is Vince Russo coming this year?
Vince Russo is not a confirmed guest. So.
What about Dave Meltzer?
Dave has told me he is coming to our Super Show. I don't know what else he's doing, but he did tell me to save him a spot for the Super Show. So.
Any Dave Meltzer interviews lined up?
Nothing that's scheduled as of now.
How about schedule one? I have some questions.
You have what?
I have some questions.
All right.
For Big Dave.
All right.
And if you have some questions, all you have to do is go to Twitter, use the hashtag AskWrestlecon. But before we close off, and I'm going to make Seth do this now, whether he wants, I don't think he really wants to. But a couple months back, we were in...
I think Seth's already cut off this interview, but let's go ahead.
A couple months back, we were in New York City. One of our colleagues, Scott Jordan, I work with him at Monster Jam. Make sure you watch him on NBC Sports. He's the host of Monster Jam. We walked the streets of New York asking fans questions, and we ran across a really interesting fan. His name is Ricky. You'll see him coming up. If you see Ricky, I hope you see Ricky. If you see Ricky, bring him to Wrestlecon. We'll get him in for free, only if he brings his drink, and you'll understand once you see the video. So I guess on behalf of High Spots, High Spots Wrestling Network, Wrestlecon, Michael Bakikio, Seth Bowman, and everybody else, that's all for this time. So until next time, I'm Corky Franks.
See you in New York.
See you at WrestleCon.
Hey, how you doing, man? You all right? Wave to the camera, man. Wave to the camera. What's your name? What's your name?
It's Ricky.
Your name is Ricky. Ricky, are you from New York?
No. Hey, yeah.
No and yes, so both. Now, Ricky, are you a wrestling fan? Have you ever watched pro wrestling?
Hell yeah.
Okay, who's your favorite wrestler?
The Rock.
The Rock, who is no longer wrestling, is Ricky's favorite wrestler. How about anybody that's actually...
He take all time when he act. It was on Punk. Ain't be on TV. Hey, yeah.
Yes, Ricky, what is actually in that bottle that you have there? Is that Canada Dry or is that urine? All right, Canada Dry green tea. So I want to tell you something. So Wrestlecon is coming to New York City April 5th and April 6th next year. If there was any wrestler besides The Rock that you would like to see at Wrestlecon, who would it be?
The Edge.
The who?
The Edge.
The Edge, Hall of Famer Edge, Adam Copeland. And maybe we can get Edge at WrestleCon. If we got Edge at WrestleCon, would you come?
Yeah. Well, Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio could be there as well. Another great option. So I tell you what, we're going to rapid fire a few quick questions for you, Ricky. Are you ready? What is your favorite Miz TV show? Is it Will and Grace or Seinfeld?
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, all right. AJ Styles, is he phenomenal or not really?
Who's AJ Styles? Which one? Break it down.
He is the current WWE champion, AJ Styles. Is he phenomenal?
The last time I watched that, it was Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar is the Universal champion. AJ Styles. I'm talking about SmackDown Live right now.
You talking about Raw, right?
Raw is Brock Lesnar. SmackDown is AJ Styles. One more quick question for you. What do the initials NWO stand for?
NWO. Ain't that Noble Out Bloods?
I think it might be. Ricky, thank you so much, my friend. We will see you at WrestleCon April 5th and April 6th. Come join him. I love New York. We all do. And get some of that ginger ale green tea.